Today's podcast is brought to you by Nuzest, a clean, lean protein powder voted top 10 vegan protein by Health Magazine.
You're listening to the Ordinary Vegan Podcast, where we teach you everything you need to know about adopting a plant-based diet full or part-time. Our goal is to empower you to live a long and healthy life. You can find today's show at ordinaryvegan.net or on iTunes. If you have any questions, please send an email to questions@ordinaryvegan.net.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Ordinary Vegan Podcast, number 55, Vegan Lifestyle Tips for Transitioning to a Vegan Diet. If we haven't met, my name is Nancy Montori, and I am the founder of Ordinary Vegan, the website and this podcast. I advocate a whole food, plant-based diet for health and wellness, the environment, and animal welfare. Thank you so much for being here today, and I so appreciate every single one of you. I am here to serve you and help you transition to a healthy lifestyle. We make no judgments here, and everyone is welcome. We are all on different paths, different journeys, and if you are here to fully embrace a vegan lifestyle, that is awesome, and I welcome you with open arms. And if you are here to learn how to add a few plant-based meals to your lifestyle, that is awesome, and I welcome you with open arms. Whatever it takes to help you be healthy is my purpose in life, so let's get started. Today, I want to address some of the basics of transitioning to a vegan diet and offer some tips. Some of these I've mentioned in other podcasts, but they are worth repeating, and some are tips I haven't shared before. At any rate, I hope they can help you make the transition. Before I get started, I wanted to share some thoughts I have had over the last few days and a new, pretty shocking study. Let's begin with the study. Researchers from Tufts University did a study that involved 27,000 U.S. adults. What they found is adequate intake of certain nutrients is associated with a reduction in all-cause mortality when the nutrient source is food, not supplements. They said there was no connection between dietary supplement use and a lower risk of death, and warned of possible dangers from taking supplements. For example, excess calcium intake was linked to an increased risk of cancer death for people taking 1,000 milligrams or more a day. We have talked about the risks of calcium supplementation and bone health in previous podcasts, but I don't think we knew the connection between calcium supplementation and cancer at the time. In addition, multivitamins and supplements of vitamin B6, folic acid, magnesium, zinc, copper, and especially iron were all associated with greater risk of dying. The researchers found that dietary supplements had no effect on the risk of death in individuals with low nutrient intake. Instead, the team found indications that the use of certain vitamin supplementation, like vitamin D supplements, by individuals with no vitamin D deficiency may be associated with an increased risk of death from all causes, including cancer. They concluded that, based on existing evidence, they saw little justification for the general and widespread use of dietary supplements, and they recommend that supplementation only be used with strong medically based caused such as nutrient deficiency. This is something that Dr. T. Colin Campbell has said all along. Don't take supplements if you don't have a vitamin deficiency. In Dr. Campbell's book, Whole, Rethinking the Science of Nutrition, he says our bodies are designed to get their nutrients from food. Supplements are not food. Supplements don't prevent or cure chronic disease, and often they can cause harm. Now, as we all know, people who are vegan are often encouraged to consume vitamin D and vitamin B12 supplements, and some vegans need these two supplements. But checking levels is the only way to do it. Have a blood test. No guessing that you have a deficiency. Have your doctor check your vitamin levels. If you don't have a deficiency, you don't need a supplement. Having extra vitamin D, calcium, or B12 can be harmful to your health. The truth is, many of us take a multivitamin every day, just in case. And the truth is, we have been bamboozled by the supplement industry and advertising that having extra vitamins from supplementation is good when it is not, unless you have a deficiency. According to Dr. Campbell and the Tufts study, the goal of supplementation is to take the lowest amount required to maintain adequate vitamin levels. Hope that makes sense. I will talk more about supplementation in an upcoming podcast, but please don't be willy-nilly about vitamins. And if you don't have a known deficiency, don't supplement. Now, on to other things. This past weekend, my best friends and I made a trip to see the wildflowers burst into bloom here in Southern California, and it was breathtaking. From wildfires to wildflowers, it is simply amazing how nature is part of California's cycle of life. It actually brought tears to my eyes. Although our hike into the canyon wasn't full of difficult trails, I was so grateful for my energy and the spring in my step, and I knew that if it wasn't for my plant-based diet, I would not have the strength and vitality to endure hiking. My body was able to move the way it was meant to, and I could have hiked all day. And that is the way I want everyone to feel. And one of the best strategies to achieve and maintain vibrant health is to follow a diet that incorporates lots of fresh, whole foods. Sometimes I worry that I make this vegan lifestyle sound easy, and I want you all to know it's not. It takes passion, it takes commitment, and it takes dedication. But you can do it. This morning I read the most inspirational words from Rumi, a Persian poet and mystic born over 800 years ago. And those words were from his poem, The Sight of Our Soul, and are the inspiration for today's podcast. He said, "Straying maps the path. A secret freedom opens through a crevice you can barely see." He also says in the poem, if a prisoner has not lived outside, he would not detest the dungeon. In other words, until we do something different, until we stray from the path, we will never know what is waiting for us. This may sound a little dramatic since we're talking about changing the way we eat, but big changes always lead to big results, big things. This can apply to everything in your life. Change is scary, but another thing Rumi says is when you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you. And that is how I felt climbing the canyon, surrounded by wildflowers and my best friends. Share joy about my life, even though it isn't perfect. I know that I stray from the path over and over again, and that has created so much positive serendipity in my life. So if you're here listening, Maybe you are struggling with a decision to stray from the path. Well, the universe is speaking to you right now. Go for it. Straying maps the path. Now, let's get into some transitioning and vegan lifestyle tips. One of the most difficult hurdles to a vegan diet is it can be lonely. Making the decision to make a diet and lifestyle overhaul may come as a big surprise to your family, and often you may be the only family member consuming a plant-based diet. And you could actually be the person providing the meals to others. That is the real challenge, cooking separately for yourself and preparing something different for your family. I remember when I started out in 2011, people would always ask me, "What does your husband eat?" But I just said, anything he wants. My recommendation is to make meals that can be vegan or non-vegan. A simple example of that are tacos. You can have them with black beans, rice, avocado, and salsa, and your family can add animal protein to it if they want. Stews and soups are also a crowd pleaser. If a family member wants some animal protein on the side, they can have it. When cooking soup, often I like to blend part of the soup and put the pureed liquid back into the pot to make a creamy base. The thicker texture will make it taste richer and more filling. Another recommendation I have for a vegan and a non-vegan family is to serve satiating food. If your family is just eating salads for dinner, they are not going to embrace a vegan diet. Think potatoes, gravy, salsa, romesco sauce, meaty vegetables, high-protein grains and legumes. As we discussed in podcast number 2, vegan protein, one of the most common myths about a plant-based diet is that you won't get enough protein. And I am certain this will be one of the questions your family will ask you. If they do question you about protein, show them the websites of some of the most famous, healthiest vegan bodybuilders, football players, basketball players, and triathletes that literally smash those vegan stereotypes, like triathlete Rich Roll, the muscle whisperer Ryan Nelson, basketball players like Kyrie Irving and Damian Lillard, and the list goes on and on. Some of the greatest athletes on this planet eat a whole foods plant-based diet. Speaking of protein, if you're worried about protein, you can always add protein to your diet with vegan protein powders. But all protein powders are not created equal. This is a good moment to thank my sponsor for this week's podcast, Vegan, Non-GMO, Clean Lean Protein by Nuzest. Many of you have reached out to me asking me for my recommendation for a vegan protein powder because you feel like you need more protein in your diet. And I finally came across one that I would recommend. It is called Clean Lean Protein by Nuzest. It caught my eye because it contained very few ingredients, and that is what you want in a protein powder. No added sugars, no added rice, no added chemicals, just a clean, easy to digest, low in allergens, vegetable protein powder powered by 100% pea protein. I like to blend my powder with almond milk and a banana. And the good news is you can try it too. You can get a starter pack of Clean Lean Protein from Nuzest just for $9.99 plus free shipping with all 4 popular flavors, including my favorite, smooth vanilla. Just go to nuzest.us/OV today. That is NUZEST.US/OV. Thank you, Nuzest. Another family meal prep tip is to learn how to prepare your favorite family dishes without the animal protein. That has definitely been one of my keys to success. Often, our favorite meals aren't about the animal protein, but about all the ingredients and spices, and you can still achieve deep, complex flavors by just replacing the animal protein with seitan, tofu, or a meaty vegetable like mushrooms or a legume like high-protein chickpeas. One of my favorite meals is my seitan no-beef stew with carrots, potatoes, and whole mini onions and red wine with a dollop of horseradish sour cream. I made this beef stew for years, and my family loved it, but after I became vegan, all I did was replace the beef with seitan, and I was still able to achieve those delicious, complex flavors without the animal protein. It's a little long to include in this podcast, but you can get the recipe at ordinaryvegan.net/vegan beef stew. Seitan is one of my favorite beef replaces because of its chewy texture and ability to absorb flavor. It is made from wheat gluten, and it is high protein, low carb, low fat alternative to animal protein. You can buy it packaged or you can make your own. While we're on the subject, let's go into Ordinary Vegan's kitchen and make a simple marinated seitan sandwich with a spicy, crunchy cabbage slaw. Start by making the marinated seitan. All you need are 8 ounces of plain seitan cut into bite-sized pieces, and a 1/4 cup of tamari or low-sodium soy sauce, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 2 garlic cloves chopped, 2 teaspoons of fresh ginger chopped, or 3/4 teaspoons of ground ginger, and 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Just place the seitan in a glass bowl, whisk together the soy sauce, brown sugar, garlic cloves, ginger, and Dijon mustard, and pour it over the seitan and mix it well. Cover and refrigerate for 1 hour, turning once. Next, heat the oven to 375 degrees. Then heat a nonstick pan over medium heat with about a 1/3 cup of vegetable broth. Remove the seitan from the marinade, saving that liquid. Place the seitan into the pan and sear about 3 to 4 minutes or until it's lightly browned. Then put it in a baking dish, add the marinade, and cook for an additional 15 minutes. Grill or toast a bun and spread each slice with grainy mustard, then top with half of the seitan and spoon some pan juices over. Then I like to spoon a large mound of spicy, crunchy cabbage on top. And it's so simple to prepare. Just whisk together a 1/4 cup of red wine or white vinegar with 1/8 of a cup of extra virgin olive oil, 4 cloves of garlic chopped, 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of dried oregano, and some fresh ground black pepper. In a large bowl, combine a half of red or white cabbage that has been cored and cut into ribbons. Add a half a small red onion that's been chopped and 1 red Fresno chili or jalapeno that has been thinly sliced with the seeds removed. Add half the spicy cabbage dressing, toss, add some salt and ground black pepper, and taste. Add more dressing if needed, but you don't want to overdress it. Then chill that in the refrigerator for 15 minutes. I will put a link to this recipe in this week's show notes, or you can go to ordinaryvegan.net/marinated-seitan right now. Hope you enjoyed as much as we did. Another lifestyle tip I would like to mention is to keep educating yourself. Read books like Dr. Greger's How Not to Die or Dr. Neil Bernard, The Cheese Trap. Watch movies about food and health or food and the environment. Netflix has a ton of inspirational movies about why you should go vegan, like the documentary that motivated me, Forks Over Knives, There is also Vegucated, Hungry for a Change, Earthlings, Eating Animals, Food Inc., and What the Health. The next tip I want to mention is how to find vegan food in restaurants. Many restaurants here in the U.S. now offer plant-based menu items. And if you're on a tight budget, there are many chains that now offer vegan options. For example, for $8, you can get a large vegan bowl of beans, rice, vegetables, salsa, guacamole, and a side of tortillas from the very large chain Chili's. They also have something called sofritas, which are also vegan. The chain Denny's serves Amy's vegan patties. Domino's has a vegan thin crust pizza with sauce and veggies. Hold the cheese. Panera Bread has vegetarian black bean soup. P.F. Chang's has many vegan dishes. Quiznos has a vegetable guacamole sub. Hold the cheese. Subway has a veggie delight, and even Taco Bell has a black bean burrito with lots of vegan sides like salsa and guacamole. Other options include Wendy's, where you can get a baked potato and a side salad. Even White Castle now has a veggie slider. I am not recommending eating at a lot of fast food restaurants, but when you are in a crunch, there are reasonably priced, healthful fast food options. Also, when you're out to dinner or lunch and you're not seeing anything vegan on the menu, look at the sides. Often, I put my entire meal together with side dishes. My next tip is for people cooking for one or two with busy lives. The salad bar is your best friend. I don't know about you, but I really dislike wasting food and money. And I find that using the salad bar really helps. Often I will just box up a bunch of vegetables like artichokes, mushrooms, tomatoes, spinach, herbs, and tofu from the whole food salad bar. Refrigerate them and then throw them in a saute pan for a quick veggie stir fry, leaving nothing to waste. This lasts a few days in the refrigerator, and that way I'm not spending a lot of money on produce and wasting a lot of food. You can do the same thing with a variety of fruits for a quick smoothie. I know I say this all the time, but focus on the basics. Eating a vegan diet doesn't have to be hard. For breakfast, you can have oatmeal with fruit and nuts or coconut yogurt with vegan granola. Try to keep your plate of food simple. There is nothing more beautiful than a plate of legumes, grains, vegetables, and healthy plant-based fats. Always have snacks available in your purse and car like nuts or dried fruit or figs, or some chia seeds to mix in water for a quick chia fresca. My next tip is transition at a pace that works for you. Maybe you don't go cold turkey. Perhaps you cut down the meat and processed food intake first and add grains, legumes, vegetables, fruits, and healthy fats to your diet. Once you have tested the waters, you can take the next step by committing to at least one plant-based meal every day. Don't get frustrated when you can't figure out what to eat. It happens to everyone, even if you're not on a plant-based diet. Sometimes you just don't know what you want to eat and nothing sounds appealing. Don't worry, that feeling will go away, and maybe your body is just craving something satiating like some mashed potatoes and vegan gravy. By the way, I have the best vegan gravy recipe, and you can pour that vegan gravy on just about anything. Just go to ordinaryvegan.net/vegan gravy. I also recommend downloading apps that make it easy to ditch animal products, like Happy Cow apps. Happy Cow can help you find vegan options in your area where you least expect them. Also, there are some great cruelty-free apps that can help you find products not tested on animals, like Leaping Bunny, Bunny Free, and Cruelty Cutter. Now, a touchy subject: how to deal with resistance from family and friends when you become vegan. Friends and family who don't understand a vegan diet can become worried that it is not a wise choice for your health. And it can be upsetting when family or friends don't support you. But take it from me, just always be polite and passionate and explain the reasons you chose this lifestyle. Back in 2011, I bought all my friends and family a copy of the documentary Forks Over Knives because I wanted them to stay healthy too. Today, I would recommend having a movie night with family and watching some of those documentaries we spoke about. Those documentaries can be very convincing, especially the ones that connect food with chronic disease. You don't have to get upset if you get teased by family members because you can look in the mirror and know that you're making a personal choice that is improving your health, helping the planet, and protecting animals. My last tip is to take it one day at a time. Be adventurous. Remember Rumi's poem, Straying Maps the Path. Before I went vegan, I had never tried foods like seitan, nutritional yeast, and I very rarely ate tofu. Now I love those foods. Remember, not every meal has to be complicated or gourmet. Just take it meal by meal. There's no need to be stressed about it, and don't worry about slip-ups. You don't have to be perfect. Be prepared for compromise. We are only human. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Clean Lean Protein from Nuzest, for sponsoring this week's podcast. You can find today's recipe links and all my show notes at ordinaryvegan.net/the-podcast. You can also find all my vegan CBD products made from the safe, legal hemp plant at ordinaryvegan.net. If you have any questions about how CBD oil can enhance your quality of life, don't hesitate to reach out to me at questions@ordinaryvegan.net. Please follow me on Instagram at ordinaryvegan, and we have a wonderful, supportive community over on Facebook at facebook.com/ordinaryvegan. Please join us. Till next time.
Thanks for joining our plant-based community today. Together, we can accomplish great things. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of Ordinary Vegan's recipes and plant-based tips. If you have any questions or feedback, email us at questions@ordinaryvegan.net. Until next time.